Behind me I have two of the latest trucks. The 2020 Nissan Frontier Pro 4X with a new 3.8 liter gas V6, and this truck, the 2020 Jeep Gladiator Mojave, the all-new Desert Runner truck. And there's about 20,000 bucks separating these two off-roaders. In this video I'm going to show you exactly what you get or what you don't get for those prices. This is a brand new 2020 Nissan Frontier Pro 4X. It's a crew cab with a short 5-foot bed, pretty standard stuff, and it's a continuation of the current generation of the truck, but it has a brand new heart. It's that new V6 engine and a 9-speed automatic transmission. This 2020 Frontier is so new, we don't have final pricing for 2020. So for this video, I'm going to be using 2019 pricing. And Nissan did say that for the new engine and transmission, the price may increase just slightly for the 2020 year. But if you're getting a Frontier crew cab 4-wheel drive, the base price of that truck starts around 30,000 bucks with a V6. And under here is an all-new engine. It's a 3.8 liter direct injected V6 with a power rating of 310 horsepower and 281 pound-feet of torque. And like I told you already, it's made it to a new 9-speed automatic transmission that's very similar to the one that's in the new Nissan Titan. But after you load up the Pro 4X crew cab 4x4 truck with nearly every option, the price hovers around 39,000 bucks. And currently, that's one of the most affordable 4x4 midsize trucks you can get when you compare it against all the others. The 2020 EPA ratings for fuel efficiency are not in yet, but currently for 2019 with the old engine, it's around 17 mpg combined, and I'm thinking it will match the latest Gladiator trucks and some others with this new powertrain at around 19 mpg combined. That's just my guess. The Jeep Gladiator truck has been around for about a year, so it's still relatively new on the market, but this is the latest iteration. The Mojave is what Jeep says is meant for more high-speed off-roading. They call it desert rated, but it's still a crew cab truck with a 5-foot bed, so it's very comparable to that Nissan Frontier. Oh yeah, we went off-roading in this truck yesterday. It's gonna be a little bit muddy. So let's look at the pricing for the new Jeep Gladiator. It starts at right under 34,000 bucks. So hey, that's about 4,000 more than the starting price of a 4-wheel drive Frontier. But then things change pretty drastically. The 2020 Gladiator Mojave truck that you see right here has a base price of just under $44,000, and that's because of the axles and all the other bits that go into it, including the suspension. But then this truck retail price is over 60,000 bucks. So that's about $21,000 more than a fully loaded Frontier. And under the hood, you're still getting the same engine in this Gladiator as you've seen before. It's a 3.6 liter Pentastar V6 gas engine with 285 horsepower and 260 pound-feet of torque. It's made it to an 8-speed automatic transmission in this case, so it's not that much different from the engine available in the Nissan Frontier. Yeah, the power numbers are a little bit different, but the fuel economy should be about the same and acceleration should be about the same. Now, this is where things begin to differentiate in a big way. I'm underneath the Nissan Frontier right now. Of course, it's a body-on-frame mid-size truck, and it's using an independent front suspension and a solid rear axle with a selectable rear locker. And there are also 3 skid plates on this Frontier. One in the front for the engine and the oil pan, one right here in the middle for the transfer case, and right there for the fuel tank, so 3. And the shocks are by Bilstein, which Nissan has been using for quite some time. And the ground clearance here is about 9 inches, and that's pretty good already, and the ride is comfortable on-road and off-road. But let's look at that Jeep. Now let's see where you're spending your money on this Jeep. Well, first of all, you get better ground clearance. 11.6 inches of it right here on this Gladiator. Still body and frame construction. And now 2 solid axles, not just one. And we can argue what's better, independent suspension or solid axles, a little bit later. But in this case, you have Dana 44s, pretty heavy duty axles, front and back. No locker in the front on the Mojave. You get that on the Rubicon only. And a selectable rear locker in this case. But you get those amazing new 2.5-inch body shocks that I'm gonna show you next. But you also have 3 skid plates here. One in the very front, one right here by the transfer case, and of course the fuel tank skid plate right here. So still 3 skid plates. Since the new Mojave truck is meant for high-speed off-roading, it has the shocks to match. These are 2.5-inch body diameter Fox shocks, internal bypass, and remote reservoirs. And look at the length of this hose right here that's going to the remote reservoir. That's hidden right here by the front skid plate. I've never seen quite that separation between the remote reservoir and the shock itself. And then the Mojave has industry first exclusive hydraulic Jounce bumper, also by Fox, and it's also branded as Mopar. And basically what this is doing, it's replacing that kind of a hard bump stop with more hydraulic unit to kind of soften those blows if you're catching a tiny bit of air on the whoops. In the back, also 2.5-inch body shocks with a piggyback remote reservoir for some extra fluid and more high speed. And this is almost state-of-the-art for the shock technology. Not quite, because if this was like a Ford Raptor, you would also get live valve technology where the shocks actually have a valve in them that's adjustable dynamically all the time by the computer depending on the conditions. These shocks are not adjustable remotely, but they do have the internal bypass technology and extra fluid for those hard runs. When we talk about off-road trucks, we must talk about tires and of course approach and departure angles as well. The Frontier Pro 4X is using these Hankook Dynapro ATM tires, and we've tested this many times over the years, and the diameter on this tire is about 31.5 inches. Then on the Jeep, you're getting a much larger tire. This is a Falcon Wildpeak AT3, also an all-terrain tire. It's a bit more aggressive, and the diameter on this tire is about 33 inches. So more ground clearance, bigger tire makes sense, but also a much better approach angle right here on this Gladiator. This is about 44.5 degrees, and on the Frontier it's not too bad, but once again a little bit less of an approach angle up here, and the same is true in the back. The Frontier actually does have an advantage because it has a shorter wheelbase and a better breakover angle than the Gladiator. But here you can see in the back, the exhaust pipe on this new truck with a new engine is tucked underneath pretty well, and you still have a decent departure angle. The payload and towing capability on both of these trucks are about the same, around 1,200 pounds and 6,000 pounds of maximum towing. And that's not a lot by today's standards, but these are purpose-built off-road machines. And when you get that softer spring rate and those fancy shocks, usually your payload ratings and your towing ratings have to come down just a little bit. But the Frontier has a slight edge in this case on towing. It's rated at around 6,300 pounds of maximum trailer weight, and this Mojave truck is rated at 6,000 pounds of maximum towing. You might be saying, wait, it's not fair. You're comparing a truck that was designed about 2 decades ago versus a truck that was designed a couple of years ago. Well, that might be true, but in the spring of 2020, both of these trucks are available for sale, and they're going head to head up against each other. And for 2020, the Nissan Frontier is updated. You have a brand new console design here with a push button start that every 2020 Frontier now will include. And obviously it has to have a reverse camera, so it does. so it helps you back up and hook up your trailers. That's pretty nice. But when I turn the wheel, these lines are not dynamic, the camera quality is not super high resolution, and the screen is a little bit small. This is a fully optioned Pro 4X, so you do have heated seats. You do have your traction control off button, which is very easy to find. Your backup sensor, and of course, rear locker. Yes, must have. And your 4 low, 4 high controls right here. And the Pro 4X does have hill descent control, which is a nice technology feature. But when driving the new Frontier for 2020, it's still the same truck. It's more manageable, it's smaller, I can see around it. I feel like a lot easier, and those are the great things about this off-road midsize truck. With the Jeep Mojave, you're getting new accents and stitching all in orange. You're getting these new seats with a little bit extra bolstering. You're getting this new steering wheel, which is thicker and it has place for your thumbs. And I can tell you it's a little bit easier to know where your hands are placed on this particular steering wheel. But it also has all of the technology. Let me just go over just a few touches on this truck. First of all, up here you can see this camera module. This is for the driver assistance technologies, which includes adaptive cruise control and warning systems. Of course, it has that backup sensor that's also available on the Frontier. You have a heated steering wheel, heated front seats. Heated front seats are also available on the Nissan, of course. But let me fire this truck up and show you some of the extra features. Push button start. Of course, your 4 high, 4 low is still a lever, which is very manly and very cool. When you put it in reverse, of course, the screen is much larger, and you have dynamic backup line guidance, so you can line up trailer a little bit easier when you turn your steering wheel. You could zoom in. A lot of other new trucks have this feature. And then you have a front camera with dynamic lines for where your front wheels might be going, which is pretty helpful off-road. And also you can spray and clean your front camera if it gets too muddy. Next up are all of these switches down here. Of course, you've got your auxiliaries, so you can add extra lights, maybe a winch control. You have Off-Road Plus mode, which works both in 4 high and 4 low, and it basically manages the traction control system, allows a little bit more wheel spin, and offers you a little bit more fun and control off-road. Here you have your axle lock, rear only in the Mojave. And last but not least, you also have slow speed crawl control. It's this button right here. Basically, you can set it anywhere like between 1 and 5 miles per hour and let the truck kind of drive itself. All you have to do is steer, and it controls your accelerator and your brake pedal. And some other trucks like the new Tacoma also have this feature. If you know Jeeps, this may be obvious to you, but the Gladiator Mojave, or any Gladiator truck, is also a convertible. So you can remove all of its roof panels. You can remove the doors. You can lay down the front windshield. And that's part of the reason why this truck is probably the most expensive mid-size truck on the market today. It's because it's offering all of this in a single package. So which truck is best for you? Is it a $40,000 approximately Nissan Frontier Pro 4X, or an over $60,000 Jeep Gladiator Mojave? Well, you have to decide for yourself. Do you want more of a simple truck that's a little bit smaller, a little bit more manageable on a tight trail? Or do you want the technology-laden truck that's adventurous? You can take the roof off, you can remove your doors, and you have all of the high-tech goodies, including cameras, LED lights, and driver assistance technologies to take you basically anywhere you want to go. And guys, go back to TFLoffroad.com, where you can find all kinds of off-road trucks, side-by-sides, ATVs, and even wave runners and jet skis that Steven is reviewing. Thanks.